So we've got some major breaking news on the show. Producer Pat Ford is sadly no longer producer for the David Pakman Show, but he's not gone. He is now moving on to a new shiny position, being supervising producer for the David Pakman Show. Pat's been here for a couple years. He's not leaving. He got a promotion. We're going to be ramping up a whole bunch of new initiatives on the show. The one sad thing for some people about all this is that you're not going to be hearing from Pat nearly as much on the broadcast show, which includes podcast, radio, TV, and sort of like our normal YouTube clips. But Pat is going to be on the daily bonus show, so anyone who wants to continue to hear and see Pat daily still can. And as his new initiatives get underway, we're actually going to be hearing more about that from Pat on the bonus show, including what he's working on, things coming up on the show, and a lot more. So it's a sort of bittersweet announcement. It's basically a result of Pat just has a ton of stuff to do and a lot more now that he is going to be supervising the production of the show. And this has been, going back to the producer Lewis days, this has been a thing within the producer role for a long time. You might remember, if you've been with us this long, when Lewis started on the show as producer years ago, the idea was that he'd not be participating in the show because of how the studio was set up and a bunch of different things. But at the time, because Lewis's role was much smaller, because remember, the show was like once every other week, Lewis started kind of chiming in. And some people liked it, some people didn't like it. And since then, it's been very kind of like off again, on again, where sometimes we'd hear from Lewis, sometimes not, depending what was going on with the show that day or week. Same with Pat, but there is so much new stuff going on now that it's just much more time efficient for Pat to be working on other aspects of the show while the show is being produced rather than monitoring the show's production minute to minute. So we're going to be getting a lot more done, and that's the path forward. And I'll tell you about some of the exciting things that are being added effective immediately and or rolled out in the next few weeks. Number one, by significant, very popular demand, we are ramping up subtitles, captions, and transcripts for the program. A ton of people have asked about this. Some people, it's because they're hard of hearing. Other people just really like being able to kind of read along with what we're saying. Others want to be able to read what's on the show rather than actually watching the clips. So we're going to be immediately implementing YouTube captions and subtitles. And then over the short to medium term, we are also going to be generating daily transcripts of the show, which you can read. You can read on your computer. You'll be able to read on your mobile phone if you prefer to sort of like read the show rather than listen to it when you're commuting or whatever else. So that is one thing, which is one of the most common requests. And it's actually quite a bit of work, surprisingly or not, for people who know what goes into that. And Pat is going to be spearheading that. And then also, this is really great news. We're going to be expanding our Facebook video presence to put the entire show's clips on Facebook. And you might be saying, well, what are you talking about, David? I see your stuff on Facebook already. Here's how that has evolved over time. Years ago, we would take a YouTube clip and we would embed it on Facebook. A couple of years ago, Facebook started allowing what we would call native video uploads to Facebook, which means we're no longer embedding a YouTube clip, but we're directly uploading the video to Facebook, and you see it in Facebook's video player. And we did that a little bit with like 30 or 40% of the show. And then 9 months ago, Facebook launched video monetization on Facebook. So that was an immediate incentive to increase how much of the show we were uploading to Facebook, and we upped it to like 2/3 of the daily show, but it was making like no money. Even though it was, quote, monetized, it was making, I think, like $30 a month for the entire month of, most of the last 9 months. But in the last couple of months, Facebook video revenue has started to go up. And because we're always looking for alternatives to YouTube monetization, this is potentially a really good revenue source for us that can keep sort of the risk of any one platform failing us lower by spreading out where we're uploading video. So starting effective immediately, we're kind of going to be taking the plunge. And we'll be putting all of the daily show clips on both YouTube and Facebook. And that's another project Pat is going to be overseeing. We're looking at posting classic viral clips, which were on YouTube, but were never on Facebook, to the Facebook page to expose some of the newer audience to them, people who haven't seen some of the old classic viral stuff. And then lastly, we're making a technical upgrade to the show effective today, which is going to pretty significantly improve both the video and audio quality of the show on everything but the smallest screen. So if you watch the show on your phone, on your mobile phone, you're probably not going to notice much of a difference. But if you're watching on computer monitors like 20 inches or larger, or watching on TV, watching in high definition, you're immediately going to see a pretty significant visual improvement rolled out over the next couple of days. So exciting stuff. Thanks to everybody's support. More exciting announcements are upcoming. Sign up for memberships. Of course, that's the best way to support us. There's lots of ways to support us now. YouTube memberships and Facebook subscriptions, or all of that stuff. The best two options are Patreon, where we get 95% of your contribution. And then website memberships, where we get about 97% of your contribution, everything minus a 2.9% payment processing fee. So those remain the best ways to support the show. More stuff upcoming very soon, and exciting announcements I can't wait to tell you about.